It's 2025. Today we're just going to keep it hopefully short.
Trying to. I think it's so important to, number one, have a realistic time that you will get back to them. Like, this isn't now you'll message once and not reply for like 3 or 4 days.
Stupidly opened that message.
No.
And they saw it, and I wouldn't respond for 10 minutes. Girls, you wouldn't believe the next message I get.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2025. I hope you had a lovely time off. We also did have a lovely time off, and we tried to, at least I tried to stay away from distractions like work and emails and notifications. Today we're just going to keep it hopefully short.
Trying to.
I think a good way to start the year is to talk about a bit see, the brain fog is
Brain
just
fog is
The
real.
timer is going well.
actually to talk about relationships in general in the UGC world, inside clip and outside clip too. We will try to focus on relationships inside clip because even though you would think it's not really possible because it's just one time thing, you don't know if the brand is coming back. It can be 100% possible, and we'll just discuss about this. And just in general, like, how do you keep a healthy relationship with the client? Let's maybe start from a creator's perspective.
So I'd say, first of all, especially on Clip, obviously when you go to apply for a campaign, the first thing you can do is obviously write a message to your brand. And I think this is something people don't always, and we spoke about it before, but don't realize the value in sometimes that initial contact for like setting the tone and also starting to build a relationship. So I think it's very important if you are writing a message, and even if you have an idea in that or kind of like how you would be the perfect creator for that brand, keep it nice and personable, but also like send across your value of like why you'd be great for them and a perfect fit, because then that means when they're reviewing all the creators too, yes, they can see the content you've created, but they can also see how you talk, how you communicate. Because in our job, I think it's very understated sometimes, but it's so important, the communication and actually being able to be reliable and get back. So then when it comes to actually messaging, I think it's so important to, number one, have a realistic time that you will get back to them. Like, this isn't now you'll message once and not reply for like 3 or 4 days. Like, you want to be replying like within 24 to 48 max hours, just so that brand and you like you've clear communication. But in that as well, in your wording, I think be friendly, be yourself, but also be professional as well. Because at the end of the day, it is a job and it is a transaction and you're providing services. So you want to make sure you're putting the best foot forward too. And also in your wording as well, really making sure that, you know, the brand and you are on the same page. The fact that there's no, I guess, room for misinterpretation when it comes to doing things as well. So that would be my kind of initial number one thing. But Nicola, what's your thoughts?
I think I definitely agree with everything, and especially with the fact that, yes, we are in a digital bubble being UGC creators, but the communication is key. And that's why it's the key, is because it is all in your laptop. It is all online. You know, obviously have relationships with people, but how you present yourself digitally through those messages is how that person perceives you, as if you were working next to them. You know, it's the same thing. And we quite often forget that the way we speak, the way we word our emails, the way we kind of style them a little bit, just to get that extra professional level for ourselves. You know, it's like anyone can just say, hi, you're right. But if you just said, hi, hope you're well, this just changes the tone of the message. And I feel like a lot of the time, yes, obviously your work is always going to be the number one criteria for people, but they will remember how that communication went. There's a reason why on even buying or selling websites, in the criteria where you put your review, there's always going to be the communication, because it is important, you know, how you dealt with a problem. I think it would be quite interesting, Maria, to hear from your side, because obviously we as creators, I feel like we problem solve differently than brands would. And I feel like it would be very interesting because a big part of the communication for me is the problem solving. So I think it would be very interesting to hear your side from the brand side, how they deal with it. How often do they get to you to problem solve before they get anything, you know, sorted or figured out? How does that work?
I think it can definitely be improved. I'm just thinking about some situations that happened recently. For example, with the brand that was like a big item, and they already had 2 situations where they really didn't like the video that was produced by the creator. and they asked for a refund, and they also asked for the product to be returned. So two situations from the same brand. I mean, the first one, let's say, okay, fine, yeah, whatever. But then the second one, it felt like, okay, what is happening here? You know, and I kind of like try to understand and also put it in a way towards the brand that, hey, maybe you are not communicating something, you know, something that's missing, and something that is should be important in getting the right video that you're looking at. So I was trying to look at their brief, their script, whatever they provided, and it was a thorough like script, nothing crazy. It was a bit long, but it wasn't that bad or something. It's just that in my head, I was trying to understand from a creator's perspective how would they want it to be created in order to achieve their goal, because in there were no specifications of like have b-rolls or do this or do that. You know, it was just more about show the product in the light or whatever, or like assemble it and shoot it in a nice elegant way, you know. But nice elegant way can be
Many things.
many things, right?
Let's open up for your own interpretation. And out of curiosity, so did they have in that as well, like a script specifically for the creator to say, or was it just literally
No.
like these are the generic?
It was
Yeah.
it was literally just a brief about how they would like to see the product in the video. It's like it's a beauty kind of item. I think you, Nicola, had a campaign with them with the you know, with the mirror thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember, and I actually had to reshoot the whole video as well.
You did?
As in they asked for a food reshoot, or
Yeah.
And what was
And-
the reasons for it? Because this is weird, because that's 3 creators at least then.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
It was
I
very
just
long
remember-
ago. Very long ago, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was not specified in the brief what the approach they want.
That's what.
And I did. And to be fair, this is a very good point here. And I'm very glad that this has been brought up, because I feel like this is all the miscommunication, or not even miscommunication, the lack of communication. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, and maybe brands will come for me, I don't know, but the communication starts with the brief. That brief is where the communication
Exactly.
starts.
Yeah.
This is where you're basically telling me what you want, and I receive the message, and then I get that message back, right? But with that project, now I remember that I did like an unboxing and like cleaning my cupboards or something, and then putting that object on top of it, and that was the video. Because in my eyes, what I've been reading from them was that they wanted quite an organic looking piece of content.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, perfect, organized with me. Great, right? No, they didn't want that when they opened the video. And I was like, to be fair, it was a very long time ago. And I feel like today maybe I would be a little bit more firm with like what's happened, but back then I just wanted to make the client happy at the end of the day. And I could see they wouldn't use the content. So I just felt like I don't want them to just, you know, get out of this collaboration not happy and not using anything. Now I probably would be a bit firmer. But this is a big shout to the brands. Please just think about that brief so much as the beginning of your communication, because it's easy to say the creator communication level sucks. But then if you think about it, then your brief has 3 sentences in it or 30,000.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's the communication. Outside of Clip, recently I had an issue with communication with someone. It was a different platform, and I was literally like, this is the last time I'm using, like, this is just a joke. So it was 2 a.m. and I was only up because we were with family, and I was like, la-di-da-di-da. And I just stupidly opened that message.
No.
And they saw it, and I wouldn't respond for 10 minutes. Girls, you wouldn't believe. The next message I get, hello, are you still there? And I'm just opened the message.
Instant chat, yeah.
So I just said to them, hi, I'm really sorry. It's 2 a.m. my time zone. It's Christmas time. I'm not going to be available until Monday.
God.
So you can basically take it or leave it. But it was just like, how? Like the audacity, not the audacity, but it's like it works both ways, right? Because
it's audacity. Come on, like this is not
just
okay.
don't do it.
Even if it wasn't Christmas, but on top of that, it was Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. And I was
does
like having a margarita, doing my puzzle, and I'm like, this just ruined the vibe.
Oh gosh.
The vibe is gone now.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, I agree though sometimes when it comes to brands, and like I think it's just like holding space for the fact that fair enough if you're ordering a video or you're wanting a campaign started, but understand too that it's not like we go to the shop and we just pick, or you online shop and you order there and then it's like next day delivery. It takes time, it takes planning, and sometimes I think it's like one of the biggest misconceptions, because I've worked with brands in the past, and even like recently now too, I have some brands I'll send content like quite quickly across them, and they'll always be like, oh my goodness, you've done that so fast, like thanks so much. But in the past I've done that and then burnt myself in the foot, because since I was sending so quickly, they got used to that, and then when I had more workloads and my thing wasn't. But what I would say to creators that I find really helpful in that regard is like always try to give your time frames, or if you're going to be out of office and stuff as well, like put that on, because even on Clip, I think it's a good feature too that you can do like the holiday mode that you can like pause your account. For me, when I had my wedding, I paused it because I was like, just in case. I don't want anything. And also for brands too, that then they have that equal side. Going back to what Nicola said there, I completely agree that it's not next day shopping that you can just have access straight away. Like it's a collaboration at the end of the day that you have to respect both sides. Whereas I feel like there isn't, most brands, and I have to say, I've been very lucky so far, and hopefully you have too, Nicola, that they are respectful and they do treat you as a person. There is some brands sometimes that are very much like, I want it now, I want it done, and they don't remember you're a real person behind it all as well, I think.
That's the key, I think. It's very interesting, but I think for creators, if we could give them like one advice, is to like prevent it from happening, especially with reshooting, that kind of key thing that's problematic, right? When there wasn't enough communication and the reshooting
no
has
one
to
wants
happen.
to reshoot,
exactly. And I think one thing is, and I think me and Ali both seen it in the messages from some of the creators. Some of the creators have like a template message for all the brands. Because sometimes, you know, when the brand tells you they want an unboxing video, but actually no, they want a product showcase. This is a very different thing, but you just get it from those messages, right? Not from the brief. And I feel like a little questionnaire, or like literally, what would you like me to wear? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Things like that. It's just like, I can't think straight now because like my brain is so foggy.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying there though, like, for even creators just like, oh frig, am I going to have to send a full on that each time? Even the necessities, what I would do is, once you have a campaign accepted, whether it's in Clip or if it's outside or wherever, send across. If they haven't maybe they've given you a detailed brief that they do everything, I would just go back to them like, so I see you would like XYZ, just wanted to make sure, because there has been multiple times I have seen within Clip brands decide to do a 180 on what they've actually put in the brief, and then in the message like, actually no, we've decided to change this, and they'll put it in the message, which is all well and good. However, there is room for error in terms of if they send the product, they might not realize that product's arrived and then they send it in. Because I've even seen recently a brand, they had the brief, they went and said they're post the product. The girl was really good now and got that shot and put up, but then they sent a message going, oh, so sorry, didn't realize that like you'd ship so quick. And I'm like, that there is a wee break in between that for hers. Now, it's not her fault either, but to have that extra layer of like, right, this is what you're after, or if they don't have a really detailed brief, this is my plan. Are you happy with this plan? What I always do now, every single time, to be honest, unless it's an organic style video and it's not a voiceover, I will always send my script, because I found like, yes, 80% of the time they do approve that straight away, but there's that 20% that they'll be like, actually no, can we do this word, or can we change this, or actually I forgot to tell you this USP, which they didn't have anywhere. So always, I think if it's a voiceover, send your script, because also too, that kind of relates to the kind of shots that you'll be shooting, because a lot of the time if you're writing a script, you're wanting to link in your B-roll, or for example your layovers or your products, the actual things that will go along with that. So it's easier for the brand then to imagine their heads, oh, the kind of content they will get in that script. So that's my one tip to anyone working with a brand: try and send your script if it is a voiceover, just so you have that sign off, and then they can come back to you and be like, we didn't want that.
Especially when it's a testimonial, because I feel like voiceover, there's a little bit more wiggle room. With a testimonial, if you have a reshoot, you're screwed. Screwed.
No.
Don't do that. Send that script. And I think the last red flag for communication side of things, on Clip specifically, is when we give feedback to the messages and we go into the messages and there's no messages.
Oh God. Then I'm sitting like, are they happy? Is this what they wanted? Like,
nothing. But it's please, both brands and creators, someone needs to initiate this conversation.
Yes.
Someone needs to break the ice, because I can't imagine. This is like, what are we doing then? It's like, you're just sending me a product and I'm just doing a random video.
I think like at the very start of Clip, or at the very start of UGC, you could have potentially got away with that. No
Yeah.
longer is that the case. Like, I think at the very start of this whole industry developing, people didn't fully know UGC and didn't have as many examples as there is now. There's so many different things that you can't get away with doing that anymore. And if you're a brand also, and I understand if it's your first time doing UGC that you might not fully know, but like you do need to have it, because like even nowadays, so there's no reason, I personally don't think anyway, why every brand shouldn't have one inspiration like video or a
Link.
vibe they
Yeah.
like. There's so many examples out there, and even it doesn't have to be I want this completely remade. It can just be like, I like this vibe, I like the light,
Yeah.
I like the style. So then someone has like an example to go from, because also too, if you're a brand and you're like, oh, I don't want to get a video because they might not do it how I want it, like you need to do the research and define what do you want, because sometimes it's very tricky for creators to get to actually shoot the video and then like, oh, this wasn't what I'm after. And this has happened, we spoke about before in a video, that there was a really good video made by a creator, however the brand wanted a complete reshoot because they wanted it to be more organic film, however their brief was very like adsy, salesy. And it comes back to that, if they had to put in an example and it had to been that more relaxed vibe, that would have definitely helped a lot more too, I think. So it comes back to, for creators, send in your script or like your rough plan, but for brands initially, like trying to, I think anyway, putting in an inspo link or something you like the vibe of, because that will make the room for error way smaller. And for a creator, way less chance of having to do a full reshoot, because no one wants that like at all.
No. And it's also, every message should be aimed at making your collaboration as quick and easy as possible. Don't, also, I think like the other spectrum of that is like over messaging, when it's like details that don't really matter. And it's the same thing. Or, you know, because Clip actually looks at the messages, so it also takes additional time. Don't waste time on silly things and, you know, just to kind of prolong. I think it's quite like a time sensitive matter quite often of the time, and both from creator side and brand's perspective as well. So just be kind, be on time, and don't under and over do the messages as well, because both ways you need to find that balance for that communication to actually work smoothly, because then you're going to perhaps get selected for the next opportunity, right? Because on Clip now, brands can decide if they want to work with someone they've worked before. And I feel like it would be silly to lose an opportunity over a message. That would be really sad.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add that also being on time with messages is also a big part of it. Guys, the amount of people that are not replying on time is just ridiculous. It's
Really
unhealthy. I don't even know what to do with these creators at this point. It's not a lot, but it's a bunch of people, probably a handful of people that I know by heart, and they're just taking literally the piece of just not replying on time. I don't get it. Like, why are you applying to these collaborations? Why are you even on a platform like this, you know?
Would you think that it could be a good thing to potentially down the line add into Clip that, like, if you're applying, like nearly having a bit of a clause when you're going to apply to a campaign, and nearly saying that, like, once you apply, like, you agree to reply? Because I feel like once they're selected for that campaign, there should be something, because in my head it is, and that's mad to me that people won't reply back, but there should nearly be like, you need to have the availability to get back to them. And I know brands don't always accept there and then, and things can come up, but I think there nearly should be that like warning nearly that like, look, it's been X amount of days since you communicated with this brand. If you don't want to like get your account put in pause or something, because I don't know.
Yeah.
After 3 days, a brand could request to swap the creator or something like that. But then the tricky thing is that then if the product is sent already, it doesn't really solve anything, does it?
That's a lot.
That's when the delaying of the
so
messages
please guys
most.
just reply back and be good. Just
be
be good,
good,
please. Thanks for
Yes,
being
it's please. I mean, you don't have to reply immediately. You don't even have to reply in the same day. But it would be ideal to reply in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's a healthy amount of time. You know?
And I think too, this goes without saying, even within emails or even within specific, that just do an acknowledgement message, like, thanks so much for selecting, I will get back to you X. And like, even if you are a full-time creator too, like definitely have, and this is my New Year's thing, try and have time block my day, like have a portion of your day that is for like emails or like messages, and going on and doing a realistic like check through stuff that then you're like, okay, that's all sorted. Because at the end of the day, as both of you have said, like that'll affect the brand's relationship with you. And the fact now the brands can request to get the same creator again. So if you work with them and they're like, great, they were fantastic, how easy is it for that brand to just select you again and being like, you know what, of their content, but frig, they were a pain, they didn't come back and they
Yeah.
delayed the whole thing. No,
Yep.
they'll move on to the next person. So
Yep.
I think it is just coming back to kind of, I guess, so that like be on time in your communication, maybe for days, and think about the long-term relationships always. Stop thinking of campaigns as one-offs. Start thinking about like, how can I nurture that relationship that I could actually, you know, work with them ongoing every single month, because that's the dream at the end of the day, getting to do that.
That was a very
Yeah.
nice sum up, I think.
Yeah, and then for the
Basically
brands, yeah, sorry, just to quickly mention the brand side as well, because I think that's basically the brick and mortar of the whole communication, right? When you start it, is to just please pay attention to your brief, or if you have a script, just time it, see if it's in the duration of the video that you select, because that's also another issue. And just like give information that is going to be valuable and useful for the creator. Don't put like a 30 million words brief or script, because nobody's going to go through it. Trust me, I don't even go through them when I check them sometimes, because it's just too long. It doesn't make any sense, you
and
know?
the brand won't even remember what they put in there, most likely.
Exactly, yeah. So how would you even like try? Keep it short. Go back to our episode on briefs. We also have an article on newsclip.com about how to create briefs and all these sorts of things. We are more than happy to talk again about briefs if that's the if that's the case, because I feel it's a non-ending like topic, and it's always good to just come back at it, and because it can always like update, you know. It's not something that, okay, this is like the model and you could just like copy paste it. And yeah, just be polite at the end of the day with people in general. Like, you know, just acknowledge their personal life as well. Maybe they have some issues going on, maybe they have some health issues, I don't know. They're human. Everyone is human here, guys. Nobody's a robot. We're not using bots. We're not. So yeah, just be kind, and always be effective in communication. Don't get angry if the creator's not replying to you the next minute or the next hour or
Please
literally
don't.
the next day. It's not helpful for anyone. So yeah, just be mindful of that, and yeah, just be effective with communication in general, whatever it's going to help your campaign succeed in terms of details, but don't overdo it as well.
Great. No, I think
Basically,
that
just
was
find that perfect balance.
As always.
I think that was a really great episode. So if you have any questions or want to reach out to us, we're on all different social media. We also have a newsletter now, so make sure you get subscribed to that, because it's always got valuable information. But once again, guys, Happy New Year, and we will all see you in the next one. Bye.
Happy New